You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
We're excited to kick off our first ever road tour, visiting some of the top shops across the country. Come along as we give you a behind-the-scenes tour of some of the most successful lawn care, landscaping, and hardscaping operations and facilities and see how their businesses operate. This shop tour is brought to you by our great friends at Steel, Equipment Defender, Cujo Yardware, and Yardbook. We know professionals like you trust and rely on the tools and equipment to make your business a success. And our tour partners mean business. Gear up, lock up, lace up, and line up your business for success with our 2022 Shop Tour sponsors. We'll be releasing new podcasts and YouTube videos every Monday for 8 weeks as we take you across the country on this incredible tour. Check out the full video tours on YouTube at Brian's Lawn Maintenance and catch the podcast every Monday. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, guys, we're going to jump right on into it here. We're going to start the whole shop tour, the little kickoff with none other than the first episode with Andy Mulder. All right, a lot of you guys know and love Andy on Instagram and follow him on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, he had an incredible shop tour, and we actually have all these videos posting the same Monday. So for the next 8 weeks, we've got 8 shop tours posting on YouTube and the correlating podcast on the podcast. So later on tonight, maybe when you guys get home after a hard day of mowing and hardscaping and landscaping, you guys want to see Andy Mulder's shop tour, I would encourage you guys to check out the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel where we did the shop tour with Andy. Now, we're actually recording this podcast episode at his shop, and I'm really grateful and thankful that he opened up his place and gave us the tour around. I'll tell you what, we are setting the bar high. We're setting the standard high, and he's methodical. He's crazy efficient, crazy productive, and I'm telling you what, everything he does is first class. So all things being said, want to say a big shout out and thank you to Andy Mulder for opening up his shop. Hope you guys appreciate it. If so, like I said, stop by on YouTube, leave a thumbs up, maybe leave a quick comment, say, hey, listen to your episode with Brian today on the podcast, and show some love that way. Secondly, we want to say thank you to the tour sponsors, Cujo, Steel, Yardbook, and Equipment Defender. We couldn't do this without them. Hotel rooms, flights, gas money, fuel, food, all that mess, time away from the business. It costs time and money to produce these things, so we couldn't do it without them. So more on those guys later. All right, guys, without further ado, let's jump into the podcast here and hear a little bit more from Andy Mulder. All right, guys, we're jumping right into it. Today, we are joined by none other than the man, Andy Mulder. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Brian.
We're podcasting in your garage, your shop?
Yeah, in my shop. Yeah.
This thing is awesome.
Thank you. It's like my home away from home.
Well, I can tell. And with a place like this, it's almost like you don't want to leave home.
No, I spend a lot of time on here. We spend Saturdays, me and my boys spend Saturdays or Dadderdays out here a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been I've had more fun building it than I have using it.
Sure. Funny how that works, right?
Yes.
Oh, whoa, I almost just fell back in the chair. This chair, it's a shop chair.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah.
Testing the limits of everything here. Well, if you guys are listening in real time or even watching real time, we just dropped the YouTube video of the shop tour with Andy Mulder. So if you guys haven't checked out that yet on YouTube at Brian's Lawn Maintenance, you need to check it out. Had a really, really good time.
Yeah.
Andy's shop is optimized. I'm looking around here real life. We got some 4-wheelers in the corner with a blade grinding station and a workstation. Lubes and oils, a huge workbench, Milwaukee tools, DeWalt tools, just containers of pack out and like blue shelving unit for bolts of all type. We've got a mezzanine up on top, plows all over the place, and air tools, compressors. Andy, this is an awesome setup.
Thanks, man.
You got to be proud of yourself.
This is I don't know. It's
dream come true.
Yeah, it really is. Just having my own space to do stuff and work on things. It's really been such a blessing in my life to be able to do this. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, not only yours, but so many other guys listening in.
Yeah,
myself included, because I've watched you on YouTube and on Instagram for a long while now, a couple of years, since Caleb introduced you to us on the Instagram and the blogosphere, right? And I've been watching ever since. And so, if you guys don't know, I'm doing a shop tour where we're visiting about 8 or 9 different people. We're going to drop one YouTube video a week for the next 8 weeks and showing you guys the behind the scenes, showing people's tours or shops and giving a tour of them. And so that way, if you guys are building a shop in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, you can look at what people have done right and duplicate that. If you are watching in, I've been asking people, hey, what's one thing you would have changed or did differently, right?
Yeah.
And then that way you can kind of avoid that pitfall. Andy was joking earlier. He put in a bathroom afterwards.
Yes.
And he's like, I took a day project to a 2 or 3 day project, and something that could have been hundreds of dollars turns it into $1,000
Right.
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Andy, I think you're still batting like 99% good. So
Thank you.
all things being considered, even this guy, he's got the Achilles heel, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this really quick. So if you guys want to watch the shop tour, check that out on YouTube. On the podcast here, I just want to get a little like life update, business update with Andy. Last time we had you on the show, Andy, it was probably 18 months ago, believe it or not, because it was the Hype House in January.
The first Hype House.
The first one.
Which would have been 2020.
2020.
Right before the world ended.
Yeah, no, before COVID. I guess that would be true, right?
I think so.
That was like February.
If it was January.
Or January?
Yeah, it was January.
Was it January 2020?
It was definitely 2020.
Wow. Yeah, because 21 was...
would have been... You skipped it, and was it skipped in 2021?
Maybe it was 2021.
Maybe it was.
We don't even know what we're doing here.
It doesn't matter. That was the last time I was on the podcast.
Well, and I had just met you, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I don't pretend to be friends with people I don't know. I'm not like, hey, what's up, man? But I wanted to get you on the show. Caleb's like, yeah, get Andy on the show. He's a great dude. I'm like, all right. I asked a bunch of like just great questions. And why don't you get these guys up to speed really quick? Like I call it the highlight reel, right? Give us like 2 minutes. Like you're for anybody who's new to the show or didn't listen to the first episode, what's your background? What's your business? What do you guys specialize in? And what's things looking like today?
Yeah. So we started this business 8 years ago. Before that, I had worked for somebody for about 13, 14 years. So I've been doing this for, 20, 21 years. And we do hardscaping. We have a hardscape crew, and then we have a maintenance crew that does maintenance full time. I started this out of my garage at our old house, and we moved to my parents' house for about 6 months because I needed a little bit more space. And then me and my wife were able to move a little bit out to a little bit more property, and we moved the company then out to there, and now we're where we are. So we have usually 4 to 5 full-time guys that work throughout the season, and we do I like to think high-end hardscaping work and landscaping work in our area.
Yeah.
And like I said, a maintenance crew that does maintenance 4 days a week. And it's been a wild ride. And then social media has kind of changed our business in a way that I never really expected it to. I just started putting stuff on Instagram just because I thought it was cool. Fast forward, I would say 4 years now I've been doing putting work into it.
Yeah.
And we've been able to really grow our social media, and we have a podcast now that we started last week. Dropped, I can't say last week.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Real time.
Yeah, right.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
A couple episodes are out.
Yeah, and so that we have it's called the Mulder Life Podcast, and that is basically a broadcast of my live show that I do Sunday nights on Instagram. It actually started at the Hype House too.
Okay.
It spawned from that when we did the Q&A.
Okay.
We would do those at night.
Yep.
And I just loved answering questions and just the variety of things you get to talk about, and just seemed like there was a need for something like that. And so that's just what it is. It's just live Q&A, and we talk about industry stuff and family and business and life and all that stuff. And all that to say, social media has changed my business in a way that I never thought it would, and has pushed me farther in the industry than I expected it could.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're here today because of that, right?
Well, I got to say, I'm impressed. Like, I love all of it. Like, ever since I got to meet you at the Hype House, like I said, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, and Caleb's been talking about you. And that's the thing I love about social media, is that you don't know other people or things or products or equipment exist. Or at least you don't. At least I didn't until you see it sometimes on the internet from a YouTube video or an Instagram post. And so I really enjoyed watching you, J Squared Outdoors, Josh Sutton, of course the Almonds, and it's like the hardscaping, the hardscape cartel. I think you guys call yourself sometimes or something, or something like that.
I have not heard that, but that's a good one.
Well, it's just fun, like watching you guys, Paver King, and a lot of other guys that we've had on the show. Because I'm a lawn care guy, and I love cutting grass. My guys love cutting grass. But we just did an outdoor kind of a, what would you call it, like a shop tour or yard tour of your property, and you had trailers and storage containers and a bunch of other fun stuff. And I'm just like, this is all I'm familiar with it all, but it's still foreign to me because I don't live in this space.
Yeah.
Right. So for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I just love seeing what other people are doing, I want to take it back to the business setup because your business is a little peculiar in the marketplace. You guys are debt free.
Yeah.
Right. And I say peculiar because most people, and no right or wrong answer. And I don't want to do the whole like no debt versus debt, whole talk forever. But I do want to hear your philosophy on why you run your business debt free really quick. Because I think it is important. And some guys, you want to finance machines, that's okay. If I've financed hundreds of thousands of dollars of machines and equipment. I've paid interest. It's been fine. My business has grown. We've cash flowed it all. Not really like any horror stories there. So it's worked for me. You might have maybe started that way. I don't know your whole story. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But tell me your business philosophy about being debt free. Why you're debt free. Just what works for you. Why running the business this way?
Yeah. So before we started the business, me and my wife went through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University class.
Sure.
And that was maybe a year or two into our marriage. And we really developed a passion for, and kind of I guess you'd call it a fire for what being debt-free can do, and the why behind it. And we really took that to heart and kind of changed our thinking on debt. And so when we were deciding what we were going to do, whether I was going to stay working where I was working before or start my own company, we really came down to the conclusion that the only way I was going to be able to buy that other company was to go into debt to buy it.
Okay.
And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. We wanted to be debt free. We sold one of our cars. I think it was my car to get. That was at that time that was the only debt we had other than our house.
Yep.
And so we were debt free personally. And so we're like, well, we don't want to go into debt to start this business. And so I think we'll just start it ourselves. And there was lots of other reasons why we started it, but that was being able to start from nothing is the best way, in my opinion, to be able to start it debt free and grow it debt free. And so that's been our goal all along. And what we've done since the day we started is, I don't buy something unless I have the money, and we don't grow unless we have the money.
Sure.
And it's just a huge passion of ours. And now that's probably 10 years into doing that style of living, 8 years into my business, I can confidently say that it's the best thing we've ever done. And now we're able to see the fruits of our labor, so to speak, and the ability that lifestyle gives you. And I am the first one to say that I'm not saying that if you don't do this, you're wrong,
right?
Or whatever. Like there is
100 ways to skin a cat, or whatever they say, right?
There's so many ways to run your business. This is the way we've chosen to run it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way to run it. And it's not for everybody, but it's worked for us, and it takes commitment, and we care about it. And
it's a longer road to hoe.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Especially in the hardscaping. Just to throw an attaboy at you. Not that you need it, but you're buying $60,000-$70,000 machines or more.
Yeah.
Big dump trucks, big trucks. We did a whole tour on this whole everything you got going on.
Yeah.
None of this was cheap.
No.
You're not buying a $5,000 push mower, walk behind mowers. Right. You get $12,000 mowers, $10,000 this is $50,000 trucks coming in and out or more.
Right.
So it definitely is a different approach than most people out there. Let me ask you this. I'm going to press you on this because you said what it does for us and the mission that it helps us accomplish, and we're passionate about it. What does that mean specifically for you and your wife? Because you're saying there was a fork in the road 8-9 years ago. We could finance everything. You wanted to buy the company I think maybe you were working for.
Yeah.
Or start your own thing. And you said, we want to, what the financial piece and what being debt free can do for us or do for people. What does that mean for you guys? Because I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that.
For me, we're Christians, and I believe that everything that we have comes from God. And I believe that we're to be stewards of the money that we've been given and the resources that we've been given. And I feel and believe that the way that we're handling the things that we've been given is the way that we are called to do that. And so because of that, by like what Dave Ramsey says, live and give like no one else so that, or live like no one else so later you can live and give like no one else.
Sure.
And it's very cliche and he says it all the time, but the end goal and the giving part of it and doing things for others and having margin in your life to go on vacation more or do things for your kids or give to somebody that needs something or whatever it is. You can't do those things without margin in your life and margin in your finances. And so we wanted to create that once we went through his class and saw what, got the vision of what, we can do this. Look what it can do. Like the why is the most important.
Yep. And you need finances to do it.
Yeah. And you can't, there's so many things that if you are a mess financially and your personal life is a mess, it's going to turn into your business is going to be a mess.
Right.
And it all starts at home. People talk about how do you do that with your business? Well, I don't have to suck the profits of my business out of my business all the time to support my disaster home life that I have that we're in debt up to our eyeballs or whatever. Or you know what I'm saying?
I do.
It all starts personally. You have to do everything. Because you can't do this stuff halfway.
Do you find it also like a challenge? Because I hear some people say we're going to grow at the speed of cash, and that's a great philosophy. I mean, that's kind of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Is it more like of a challenge, like a hopefully challenge is the right word I'm looking for, but you want something and you're like, oh, we actually have to make the money, earn it, then go buy it, versus buying it, financing it. And again, no right or wrong answer. I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying I've financed a lot of stuff, and it's worked for me. It's worked for a lot of people. I also know people that have grown their business at the speed of cash.
Right.
So is it a fun, weird, sick game that you play sometimes with yourself too? You're like, hey, I want to go buy this skid steer for $70,000. Let's earn it by the next 5 jobs or 12 months of the season. Do you think you operate that way, or was it a game?
Not anymore?
Gamify it.
Yeah. I would say the one thing that I did that with, we were able to pay off our house 3 years ago.
Okay.
And
cool. Congratulations. Well,
thank you.
I don't want to say congratulations. Great job is what I should say.
Yes,
it's not like you won the lottery there.
Thank you.
It's hard work.
Yeah, and I think that was the one thing that I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and I saw that we could do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could either wait this amount of years to pay it off, or by this time next year we could do it if I do this, this, and this.
And just work hard.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. And that's one of the reasons I love owning my own business is you are in control of what you make.
Amen.
And we live in a country that allows you to do that, and you control your income. You control how much you want to. You have to get out of bed in the morning. You have to go work, and that's how you're going to make money. It doesn't just come to you.
Yep.
And so when if I have a goal in mind, okay, I want to go do this. How am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to have to just work this hard to be able to do this. I don't say, okay, well, I'm going to work 40 hours a week for the next 50 years, and by year 32, I'm going to have X amount of dollars because that's the hours that I work.
Right.
I don't want it's a different mentality.
Absolutely.
I see, okay, if I work this hard and we do this many jobs at this amount of profit, the company will make X and we'll be able to do this, that, or whatever. You know what I mean? You can reach this goal, whether it's a business goal or a personal goal. That's the beauty behind it, and why I have such a passion for owning my own business. I don't think I could ever go work for somebody ever again, because I can see the freedom, and it's not how much something costs. It's honestly and that sounds like kind of, I don't know, stuck up. It's not. When I look at something and what it costs, it's not what it costs, how long it's going to take me to make that much money.
Amen. I know exactly what you're saying. I love that.
Yeah.
You're like, I got to do X amount of aerations or X amount of hardscaping installs.
Okay, well, if that excavator is $200,000, I have to do this much work and until I can buy it.
Yeah.
And I don't buy it until I have the money.
Yeah. I like it.
Don't.
One thing, and I love all that. I mean, it's I just really think you're a great person to point to talking about running a healthy business financially. And amongst other things too, of course, but debt-free, rock and rolling with the business. We got out of debt with our company last year in the fall. Amazing. Everything coming in. It's arguably profit, right? There's the overhead, all that mess. But my point for saying that is that I love what you were just talking about, is that we can help more people. And I heard, I don't know if it was a pastor or some, YouTube video motivational guy, right? But he said, when you're up to debt into your eyeballs and you're out in the ocean, right? And you're swimming in the whole deal, and you got the water is at your chin, and then suddenly a big waves comes through and it splashes all over you, get salt in your eyes, salt in your nose, salt in your mouth, and you're just like, salt water, and you're just like freaking out. That stinks, right? That's not pleasant. And that could be a financial, you need 2 new tires in the car, right? We're in March right now, recording this real time. Potholes are real
right.
in the Midwest, right? But you know what? 2 tires would take me out 5 years ago because I needed $150 per tire, $300 for tires. And when the water level is already at your chin and this wave comes through and splashes you, you're like, oh, this stinks, right? Like, and that could be a small financial fire.
Right.
But I love what you just said. Like, if you get the water level, now you can't live on nothing. Okay. Like, the electricity is still going to cost you $100 a month, no matter if you turn it down to 55 degrees.
Right.
You still get a minimum charge from your water company, your cell phone company, no matter how many minutes or texts you send. So your life does cost a certain amount of money. But the point is, if you can get out of debt and get that water level down to your ankles, and then you need 2 new tires in the car, and it goes up from your ankles to, I don't know, your shins, your calf.
Right.
You're like, oh, not that big of a deal.
Right.
Because you can still just walk through that puddle of water because you're not drowning in it, right?
Right.
Or like you said, a family member needs $1,000. Happens all the time for a lot of people. I know you guys listening in. And so to me, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about business and life and success and finances, all this mess, is to be able to help people, right? It's not just like, I'm passionate about the work or how we're setting up the company. But like you said, I heard somebody say like true wealth is the ability to give.
Right.
So like you guys are out of debt, personally and business wise. And now you're able to bless other people, whatever way that looks like.
Right.
I mean, is it a good feeling when you're totally out of debt? Somebody's called it the good feeling, get out of debt. GOOD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The good feeling. They said, I think it was a Ramsey one.
I don't know. I've never heard that. That's funny.
Yeah. It was like, get out of debt. Good. Feels good.
Right.
But it's got to feel good being out of debt and being able to be like, hey, the church needs something. Anybody want to donate that's got some money?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, we'll throw 1,000 in the tin or in the little tray,
right,
or a little silent check,
Right.
So is that what I guess is kind of the catalyst or the motivation for you guys to be able to help people and to live out your family's mission?
Yeah, and I think it's being able to give has taught me to
discipline
I don't know. It's just, it gives me more motivation to work harder and do more.
Yeah.
But I've had to, even before we were able to do more things, I've had to teach myself to be a giver too, because it's not natural and it's not second nature to be a giver. And it wasn't for me, I guess. Maybe it is for some people.
Yeah.
But I've learned that, and then as I do more things, it's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
It just is. Being able to have more margin in your life to do more.
Feels good.
And give more. And what you're talking about before about like an inconvenience in your life, like Dave Ramsey always says, like it turns an emergency into an inconvenience when you have margin to be able to do that, or an emergency fund or whatever.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally. You know the name Equipment Defender. Now experience the safety and security for your lawn care setup with Equipment Defender trailer racks. These lockable trailer racks are designed to keep your equipment organized and secure without breaking the bank. Upgrade your setup and protect your investment with trailer racks that fit any style of trailer, both utility or enclosed. These E-coated racks are built tough to withstand the elements, all while working hard to keep your equipment safe and secure. Put an end to unnecessary equipment damage and theft today by investing in quality trailer racks that you can rely on. Use the promo code BRYANS10 to save 10% on all orders today at equipmentdefender.com. And a link is provided in the show description. Equipment Defender.
And it relieves a lot of stress for me on the business side, because I don't have to worry that someone's, if we slow down with work, or if I decide one winter I don't want to do snow plowing anymore, or it doesn't snow all winter and we have no income or whatever, no one's going to come get my machines. No one can come and take my trucks away. No one can come do anything. It's mine.
Yep.
And you don't need to come take it.
I love it.
And so and I think it also helps me when I'm selling jobs. I think that I don't have I have zero desperation about getting any job ever. If it's the right job for us and they're happy with what we want to put in, then that's fine. Let's do the job. If they don't want to do the job, it's okay. I'll move on.
I really do think that's a real thing. Like, I'm telling you, like a quantifiable thing.
Oh yeah.
Because like I'm definitely not where your company's at in terms of revenue or cash flow by any means, but like our company's doing okay. Like it's a healthy lawn care. Like we still run a lawn landscape business. I know we do a lot of social media, but customers are like, well, can you come down on price? No.
Right.
Other people like, well, you guys need to do this, this, and this. I'm like, I don't actually have to do anything.
Right.
And it just makes you feel more confident, more comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, maybe you're not as desperate for it. It doesn't mean you're not hungry for it, but you're picky and choosy. And
right.
as my younger brother says, the rich get richer, right? So I'm like, hey man, you should try the other side, Yeah.
Right.
I'm just having fun. He's making his own lane and doing his own deal. But well, let me do this really quick. I want to shift gears. I got a couple questions here, and we'll break up another 7 or 8 minutes here. I want to totally respect your time, but if I got a couple questions here, we'll just kind of do bullet round. And I'm not really one to like write notes down, but I wanted to make sure I got some good questions. Andy here. I said, Andy, what are the most important decisions that you can make as a leader for you, your company, your career? What's some of the most important decisions that you need to make as a leader?
Jeez, man, these are deep.
I know.
I got the first one.
I'm coming at you, bro.
What are the most important decisions you can make?
Yeah, as a leader.
I think setting yourself up for success so that you can, as far as like personally, and so that you can succeed and, I'm not saying what I want to say the right way. like I have I feel a major responsibility for my guys that work for me, and it's up to me to provide work for them and provide a paycheck for them, and I'm responsible. They look to me for a job, and they have families, and so
they're counting on you.
If I choose wisely in my own life and in my business life, I can always ensure that they have what they need. Does that make sense?
100%.
Like, I don't know if it's like it's not one decision. It's a series of decisions and life choices, because I feel responsible for them. If I one day said, you know what, guys, I didn't feel like working hard today and we don't have any more work, so you're just going to have to stay home. Like that's not what they came to work for me for.
Right. And they got less of a paycheck. Less
whatever. I mean, it's just, I think just living responsibly and remembering the weight that we carry as business owners, a responsibility we carry.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's it's a deep one, isn't it?
Yeah, geez, wow.
We'll end up. What is one of the biggest challenges in the hardscaping field? I put industry or field, but what's one of the biggest challenges you have in your field or industry at the moment? Besides labor, no cop out on labor.
Well, that would be the only one I would say. Honestly, that's my biggest struggle is labor.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about the material shortages, and I have not run into issues with getting materials, and that is with a preface that like I try very hard to order very early, and we typically book out like long, and so I'm very proactive about what we're ordering and making sure it's going to be here in time. And that hasn't been a huge deal for me.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Curveball. How do we solve the labor issue?
I have no idea. I did a podcast on this a couple weeks ago, and we talked a lot about the trades and the situation that I feel like we've put ourselves in with pushing people to college, and that's the only way to success, and that's the only way you're going to make a living. And I don't know if it starts in the high schools, like helping kids understand that like there are other careers than just the ones you can get in college. There's nothing wrong with college, but just other options that aren't talked about.
Right. I call it like a pendulum, maybe like the last 20, 30 years, they've had the foot on the pedal of corporate America, engineers, doctors, lawyers, professionals, which is great.
Right.
But my attitude would be, I don't know if the pendulum needs to maybe the pendulum needs to swing to the other side, give it 20 years of like replenishing the ranks, and then maybe try to find an equilibrium somewhere in the middle there, calibrate in the middle to where we have the mill pumping out both sides.
Yeah.
Because I think for the last 30 years, it's been just corporate American folks since like the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah. And I just don't know.
My observation. What do I know?
I've tried so many different things. I've tried online hiring spots. I'm trying to develop more of trying to develop more internal things that will be more appealing to people as far as like distinctive job descriptions and a path for them to grow within the company.
Sure.
And everybody's trying to have more and more benefits and sign-on bonuses and all this stuff. And I've been trying to offer more money to people starting, and I have yet to find something that it's like, yeah, that worked. And I'm going to keep trying because that's what I'm going to do, because that's part of owning a business. You can't give up, and it's not easy, but we all signed up for it, right?
Yep.
So I just
maybe they can work in a cool shop.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything.
This could be your workplace.
Well, and my guys love working in here.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a blessing for them to have something that we can come in and allows them to do work in the winter. And employee training is important, and I feel like I could do better at that maybe, but I know I could do better at that. I don't know what the answer is for the labor thing, and that is my biggest struggle. It sounds crazy to say that, but that's my biggest struggle always.
Yep.
And I have more work than I can ever do. I don't have a struggle with getting equipment. We have plenty of equipment. We have trucks to do the work. It's all there, but I always am holding back the company because I can't staff enough. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that.
It's the most frustrating part of my job.
As he like wrenches a Gatorade bottle.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. And I'm asking sincerely because people listening in, we're all dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah,
everywhere, which is ironic. I put something here. This will be a little bit fun one. You do a lot of hardscaping, high-end hardscaping. What's the most interesting trend you see in hardscaping right now?
Interesting trend?
Yeah, something maybe cool to you or cool that you're seeing.
I mean, cool to me is something we're trying to do on this project that I started this year. I'm trying to incorporate more natural stone into it. That's a personal thing for me. I would like to do more natural stone stuff and incorporate that into the hardscapes.
Okay.
Into the paver work.
Okay.
I get a lot of that inspiration from Dan Wasson.
Dan Wasson, is that
he owns Wasson Nursery.
Okay.
In it's like central Indiana.
Is that Instagram or anything? Or
yeah, the Dan Wasson.
All right. Is he from Ohio?
No, he's in I think it's Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
And then they have 3 locations. The company's giant, but he does absolutely incredible hardscape work, and he's just a phenomenal guy.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, the Dan Wasson, and then Wasson Nursery is their Instagram for their business.
Okay.
But I get really inspired from his work. It's just incredible. I'm just trying to do, in the last couple of years, especially last year, I was like, I feel like we're doing a lot of the same things that we've been doing, and I want to like switch it up. And so I went hardcore on this project that we're on right now and changed a lot of things and doing a lot of natural boulders and natural flagstone, but also incorporating that into the pavers that are getting laid and just like do inlays and stuff.
Okay.
So I like that a lot. I mean, slabs are a big thing right now, like big paver slabs. And
yeah.
There's a lot of really cool modern stuff coming out, but there's a lot of things that doesn't have to be modern.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I dig it, man. It's like a whole other language out there for me for the hardscaping.
Yeah.
With you, I'm
Sure.
like, I one day I'm just going to come on job site. You're not even going to know I'm going to come by.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, Andy, what's up? And you're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick the camera in your face, and I'm going to hang out on the job site all day for like 8 hours,
Yeah.
And I'm not going to work because I don't work, right? Just ask anybody. I'm just going to film a bunch of YouTube videos.
Right. That's all you do.
Apparently. Something like that. All right. Last question I got for you. And this is actually a good one to end with. What's a question that you would like to hear answered? Like, what's a specific question that you wish somebody would ask you that like nobody ever asks you? It's one.
Jeez.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I always get mad when people interview other people and they don't ask good questions. I'm like, ask this question to this guy. This would be the question to ask to this guy. And then like the interviewer's like, dumb or doesn't his research.
Yeah.
So what's one question that you wish you got asked?
It's another deep one, Brian. What question would I want?
I'm here for the people. I'm here for the people, Andy.
Sometimes maybe I might change your question slightly, only because sometimes there's things that I would like to talk about, but I don't think will be recepted well.
Shoot, give me
like
one.
More in-depth money questions, not questions, but like, I don't know, like. I always find that people get weird when you talk about money.
Of course.
They always do. And so there's things that I will never be able to talk about in this platform because people get too weird about money.
They get personal, defensive.
Yeah, somehow like the persona changes or their perspective of you or whatever. I wish that I could share things that I think would help people, but not be taken in the wrong way.
Right.
Like
you sound arrogant.
Too much information.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's the thing, like the arrogant thing, maybe, like, because it's never about that. I just think that when you share things that are personal, deeply personal, or they involve money, people they immediately think differently of you in some way. Or like they persona like, oh, it's easy for you because you're a business owner, or it's easy to do this because of that.
I have a family just like that.
It's just hard. Like it's hard to talk about the really hard things in business, and it's hard to talk about your wins in business.
Yeah.
And I really struggle with. I've tried to get better about that, about talking about the wins, because it does help people and motivate people, but the people that it motivates are the people I want to keep talking to about it, because they understand what it took or takes to get to a certain point. But there's most of the time you can't disclose everything, that even though it would be really helpful.
Yep.
You can't talk about it because it just doesn't go well. There's
literally times when Liz and I will have wins, and literally all we can tell is each other.
Right.
It sucks.
Right.
Because it sucks because not like you said, not because of any reason a hater or a discourager will say like, oh, you're just pretentious or arrogant or not humble, or they throw these words out there and they have no idea what they mean. But really, like Liz and I will have a win, and I'm like, who do we call? Who do we tell? Who do we this? And I'm like, literally, I'm down to like 4 people.
Right.
And none of them are family.
Right. And
it's wild.
And I don't want to tell people stuff. It's never to brag. It's strictly like, this is why, this is what you can do if you do this, this, and this.
It's perseverance.
Yeah. And like, but it doesn't get taken like that, typically.
Very rarely.
And I don't know. Sometimes I think, Andy, just stop worrying about that and just send it and share it, because you don't know who's listening. But if nobody ever shares, everybody is really quick to share when it sucks.
Yeah.
And really quick to share when you have a really bad day, and share every detail about it and vent on this social media platform or that one. And
because it gets clicks and likes, because people want to see people failing or misery or drama.
Right. But the second you switch it and you talk about how much you've won this year or whatever, it's not celebrated like it should be.
Yep.
Or nobody tries to stop for a minute and shut their mouth and try and take a lesson from it.
Exactly.
And like, oh man, that's how you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's
because you really have to submit the ego. Because like you said, you go ask somebody for help, and they're going to challenge your values.
Right.
Right. Because here's the thing. If you had it all figured out, your life would be all figured out.
Right.
So you got to change if it's not working the way you want. So you go to somebody who has it figured out, more figured out, let's say.
Right.
And then you have to submit that ego, and what they tell you, you're probably not going to like, because it probably going to be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Or it's hard, or it takes longer than you wanted it to, or whatever. Like every time I get in a room with someone that's doing something way better than me, I don't need to talk. I just need to listen.
Amen, dude.
And that's not done enough. That's not the persona. Everybody has an answer for everything, and everybody's a genius at everything.
Yeah.
Because you put one thing on social media, and it's you did everything wrong. Everything you did because you did that one thing different than me is wrong.
You buy a truck, You should have got diesel. Should have got a
Right.
dually.
You're an idiot. You bought a
Ford,
gas truck
Chevy.
instead of a Cummins. Like what? You just throw the truck away. I'll drive it off a cliff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you're upset like that.
I've just decided to be the lamb on the altar and just fully full sacrifice, like full send. I'm full sacrifice.
Right.
It's like people are like, you're an idiot. I'm like, man, tell me something I don't know.
Right.
Now you and my wife have something in common.
Right.
You know, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
but when you take you can talk about trucks, you can talk about equipment, but all of a sudden, if you switch to money, just money,
people get weird.
People get freaking weird, and all of a sudden don't want to talk about it.
Give me just one topical example. You don't have to go into the depth, like you said, to make a point on something. But like, what would that one thing be? Like, sounds like a personal story, a couple personal stories, or you attempted, right?
Like if I wanted to talk about profit margin,
yeah,
or if I wanted to talk about what we were able to save into our emergency fund for the business, or what we have saved for a building that we want to build someday.
Yep.
Like those are the things that
debate, pushback.
Yeah, that's or like more of the why about why let me show you why I wanted to run the company debt free and where it's gotten me and where we are today, and I'll show you that it's worth running your company debt free.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can tell you to do it all day long, but there's things that you can't talk about because it just doesn't go well.
Right. No,
but how do you do that? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Well, this is the substantive conversation that we can talk gas versus diesel all day, right? I can get you on the phone, but like while I'm here, I'm like, hey Andy, like I got some real questions.
Yeah.
Let's help people. Let's change brain grooves.
Yeah, that's great.
Real quick, I got to ask, and you didn't ask me to plug this, but I'm excited about it because selfishly, I'm like, more hardscapers, putting out more hardscaping content. The Mulder Life podcast?
Yep, the Mulder Life podcast.
So it's live, it's ready, it's rocking and rolling?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about it.
So we have weekly episodes that drop every Wednesday right now.
Okay.
And it's like I said before, it's the replay of the
audio
of the audio of the live show that we do, the Q&A that we do on Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And then the podcast on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So you get the Sunday before.
No, it's 4 weeks behind.
Oh.
Currently, it's 4 weeks behind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, strictly because I want to have some
buffer
in the bank, so that if I don't do one, we keep going.
Or the power goes out, or the Wi-Fi goes out.
Yeah, or whatever. There's always something that eventually that'll catch up. But I'm sure eventually we'll catch up where it's literally the week before.
Ask Caleb Ballman how that works.
Yeah, the day before.
Dude, I mean,
the hour before.
The morning of, 4 a.m.
Sometimes that's the best ones.
4 a.m. podcast, getting them out to Mr. Producer at 5, and then before he goes and does his job,
Right.
That's funny right there. But no, sincerely though, I got a long road trip here, so I'm gonna. I was listening to my Ben Shapiro this morning, my Caleb Ballman, my Green Industry podcast. I got like my flow, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm like, I'm visiting Andy. I should probably listen to his show.
Yeah, there you go.
But you know what? You tell me some of the download numbers already, and it seems like it's off to a really healthy start. So if you guys want to know more about Andy Mulder, Mulder Life, Mulder Outdoors, everything that he's got going on in hardscaping, check out that podcast. We'll try to leave it in the show notes. And then out of curiosity, no right or wrong answer, but are you going to eventually maybe do guest interviews or solo shows or see where it goes?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm busy. I'm very busy right now in our season, and maybe when we slow down, I'll do some more. I'm just going to see how it goes. There's a lot of people interviewing people, and I think that this is what we're doing is kind of a niche thing of what I think is helpful to people and just something different.
Yeah.
And so I think now I'm staying with what I'm doing and maybe do some one-off short podcasts or something. I've tried to record and talk to myself when I was doing the intro, and then thinking about you really have to have notes of what you're going to talk about, because off the cuff sometimes it's I'll give you some encouragement. It's much easier to converse with somebody.
100%. Guest interviews are way easier, but Caleb's a note guy. Paul Jameson's a note guy. I'm a no-note guy. I have no notes.
Yeah.
This is for real, the first time I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Usually I'm taking notes as we go. I'm like, oh, that was good. Timestamp that,
Sure.
Just to give you some hope that you can do it too.
Right.
But by the way, I'm telling you, you're probably going to notice a lot of people are going to really appreciate the show, love the show. I know I'm going to, because I love watching your content and on Instagram. So know I'm going to love it on the podcast. So don't be surprised if people start bugging you and saying, hey, when are you going to do 2 weeks or 2 days a week?
Right.
And then 3 days a week.
It's always more.
More. Give me more free content.
Right.
So,
exactly.
well, hey, let's button it up right here. I know you want to get back to your family. We're way overdue.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, I know everybody says that, but really, like, man, that guy would just never leave. Like, he just never shuts up.
It's all good.
But my wife says the same thing, but she's stuck with me. So where can people find you on IG, YouTube, and the podcast, and we'll button it up?
So our Instagram is at Mulder Outdoors. Our YouTube is Mulder Outdoors, and that's MULDER. And then the podcast is the Mulder Life Podcast.
Awesome, man. All right, brother. We'll appreciate that. Also, guys, again, if you haven't checked out the shop tours on YouTube, check it out. Andy was the first one I did real time, and I think he's at the bar like infinitely high. So
you get to Caleb's.
Yeah, well, whatever. So rest in peace, everybody else on the tour. No, I'm just having fun. But it's going to be just a really, really good time. We have 8 shop tours that we're doing. We're going to drop 1 a week over the next 8 weeks. The podcast, we're going to do a guest interview with each of those folks as well, 1 a week, every week for the next 8 weeks. So stay tuned to the podcast once a week for the shop tour podcast, and then also on YouTube for the actual shop tours. So, and again, we super appreciate all you guys listening in, watching in, and supporting all the show sponsors as we do this. So, all right, guys. Well, over now, Andy Mulder. Thanks again, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll catch up all you guys here on the next one. Hey guys, Brian here. I get asked all the time, what's the best work shoe or boots for our industry? As some of you probably know, I absolutely love wearing the Cujo Yardwear. A few years ago, I was wondering why there isn't some sort of light, functional shoe for the lawn care industry. Literally a couple weeks later, I get a message from this new company, Cujo Yardwear, letting me know about the new shoe they created for lawn care. I couldn't believe it, so I tested them out for the first year and have been wearing them ever since. Me and my guys love the Cujos because they are light, comfortable, they keep our feet dry and have a great grip, and they're breathable. Plus, they're a family-owned company. Sean and Kelsey are a brother-sister team that seriously care about offering the best products for our industry. They started with the yard shoes, came out with the X1 composite toe boots, and are launching a new slip-on shoe this year. Check them out at Cujo.com. That's Kujo.com. And don't forget to use Brian's 10 to save 10%.
We want to thank one of our presenting sponsors of the Shop Tour series. You know them, you love them, Yard Book. Whether you're just getting into business for yourself or you've been growing your company and need to get more organized, Yard Book is for you. A full-service CRM software to help you manage and track jobs, tasks, routes, and your billing all in one convenient web-based platform. And the best part? It's totally free. Take advantage of the CRM Brian uses to grow his business and take your company to new heights. Utilize their popular features like credit card on file charging, email estimate approval, and the new selling suite, fertilizer tracking, and so much more. Tens of thousands of law entrepreneurs just like you trust and rely on Yardbook to help them grow their company. So why not you? Sign up today at yardbook.com and don't forget to mention that Brian sent you. Just one more thing, a quick reminder to subscribe to Brian's Lawn Maintenance on YouTube. That way you can see a tour of the shop where today's podcast was recorded, and that video is available for you right now.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.